This event means everything to me personally because this time 2 years ago my son was admitted into the hospital, and we were going to have a kickball event for him to celebrate his 30-year post-transplant.
Oh, wow.
And he ended up going into the hospital and unfortunately never coming out, and we had to cancel the event. But one of the things he said to me before he passed, he said, "Mom, we have to do the kickball event." So I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem, we're gonna do it," not knowing what the end result was gonna be for him.
Right.
So when he did pass, we were like, "This is it. We're gonna turn this negative and this tragedy into something positive." And that hence is why we have the kickball event, raising money for sickle cell and families going through sickle cell and the bone marrow transplant process.
I'm beside Matthew, Luke's father. How are you today?
Doing very good.
So one thing I've been dying to know, what does this Bible verse mean to you and the organization as a whole?
Okay, so this is our foundational verse because when Luke was in the hospital and he was basically so compromised that they could not operate on him. They refused to basically offer him life-saving brain surgery. So that night, and actually that day is when they told us that they had only given him maybe 6 days to live, and that came as a complete surprise to us because every time before that for the past 3 years, every time Luke came into the hospital, he was Luc Strong. He always walked back out. God always restored his health, and he walked back out to the point to where even the nurses at CHLA called him Lazarus, because at one point they literally thought that he was going to die, and ultimately he survived. And 4 months later, the doctor said it was a miracle that he had survived. So when he walked out of the hospital after 11 months, the nurse's nickname was Lazarus for him. And but then 2 years later, he was rehospitalized and with a blood infection, and he suffered a stroke for the first time. And the stroke went to his brain, and it ruptured his brainstem from the inside out. And the doctor said that his lungs were so compromised also that they couldn't offer him life-saving brain surgery, and that he was going to die in about 6 days. So I'd been reading Psalm 33 for the 3 weeks leading up to it every day, just praying through those verses. And verse 33 said, it talks about God, how he spoke the entire world and brought into existence. And it says, for he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. And so after the doctors gave us that news that basically a death sentence, that night I prayed to God and I was like, I'm going to wrestle with you like Jacob tonight. All night I'm not going to sleep. And if you spoke the entire world into existence, I know that you can heal Luke enough, I believe, to offer him the surgery. So that night, I prayed Psalm 33 throughout the entire night. And the 4 days leading up to it, Luke was in a coma and he hadn't moved. And that morning at around 6 o'clock, he kicked his leg for the first time when the nurse was with him. And he was on 4 blood pressure medications to keep his blood pressure up. And that night, all 4 came off. And the doctors came in with a second opinion and was like, he was healed. He healed so much last night that we can offer him the surgery.
Wow.
All we have to do is get the anesthesiology team to agree to it because it's a 7-hour surgery. And they said that in order for them to agree to it, that they would have to pronate him because he was laying down this way. They would have to pronate him on his back. While he was laying on his back, they would have to pronate him. And so they brought a team of 10 people in, and they said his blood pressure had to remain stable and all his numbers had to remain stable for 30 minutes. And so they brought a team of 10. The head of the oncology department at UCLA, the head of the pediatric department, said that they had never pronated someone in Luke's condition before because of all the tubes. They'd have to reverse him. So they brought a team of 10, flipped him. His numbers actually improved, and anesthesiology approved that he had the surgery. And the surgery, the same doctor that said that he couldn't operate on him the day before operated on him, met us and said it was a success, the best they could hope for. So over the next few days, we're hoping that he would come out of the coma, but he didn't. He survived for another 3 weeks, basically. And so towards the end, when God was calling him home, I struggled with understanding why did God miraculously heal him that night to offer him the surgery, only to call him home to heaven. And at September 14 at about 3:12 in the morning, Luke took his last breath and went home to heaven with his Lord. And me and my wife were by his side, and it was amazing because we were at complete peace. And the other thing that was amazing about it is that Luke died with a smile on his face. So all the nurses and the doctors were running in there like, he died with a smile on his face. And I literally compare it to Stephen. When he was stoned to death, the Bible recorded that as he was dying, he looked up into heaven, and his face shone with the glory of God. And I truly believe that Luke saw his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and the joy was written on his face. I tried to reconcile for the next few days, why did God miraculously heal him, only to call him home 3 weeks later. But ultimately God, just convicted me and my wife that those 3 weeks was for us to say goodbye to him. And so every day, we were by his side, praying with him, singing songs with him. Every 2 hours there was 20 people in the room, and just glorifying God in the midst of it. Neighbors from all over our community, people from our church coming, and we got to say goodbye to Luke. And to this day, although we still miss him tremendously, we're comforted by the fact that he's in heaven and that we're going to see him one day, because we also believe in Jesus Christ. And but we still miss him tremendously. But just the entire journey, we saw God use it for good in so many ways, and continues to use it for good. And that's why we decided to do a Luc Strong Foundation, to help other families, because during our journey, we understood how challenging the trial could be, and God placed in our heart then, if we ever got the chance, that we would then help other families in that same journey. So about 4 months after you went to heaven, we started the foundation, and here we are, and starting to help families. So we're just thankful that God continues to use Luke's life and his legacy, and use us to honor him, to honor Luke's legacy, and just help others.
Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. Can I have a hug?
Yeah, absolutely.
This event means everything to me. My brother was one of the strongest people I knew when he was going through the bone marrow transplant process. He was fearless, and this event helps other kids going through his situation and helps them, get through it a little bit easier financially. So that's a blessing for them, and that's a blessing for us.
Hey you guys, I'm with Stacy. She's the fundraising director of the Luc Strong Foundation. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you so much.
So what does this event mean to you?
Wow, it is means the world to me. Luke, when I met the Bodden family, they became instant family, and we just fell in love with Luke. So this is family to me, and so it means the world to me. I can't even answer these questions.
We're so happy that you even came to chat with us, and actually we have Luke's we have Luke's cousin here too, Shell. Do you have anything to say about this event? I mean, I know it means a lot to you too.
Yes, it means the world to me that Pop Fusion can come and be here and support the Luc Strong Foundation, my cousin, and what he means. And I feel like you guys have always been there behind my cousin, supporting him and everything, just his whole journey throughout, the process and everything. So we're really appreciative of you guys being here and support us.
I second that.
Well, this has been an amazing event, and you're doing amazing work with your title at the organization. And Shell, you've been so inspiring to us as well. So thank you for chatting with us, ladies, and be sure to stay tuned for more. Hey you guys, so I'm standing beside Kim. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
Good.
So what brings you out today?
Well, we came out here today to support the Luc Strong Foundation, and also to help recruit new donors to the bone marrow donor registry.
So awesome. So what should people know about bone marrow registration?
So we're really looking for people between the ages of 18 and 44 years old, and people who are willing to be in the national and even international donor registry. So it could be a bone marrow donor for anybody who is in need of a transplant. To join, you can go to the website join.marrow.org/Luc Strong and fill out your information. Thank you.
So being a sickle cell warrior and being a part of the sickle cell community, what does an event like this mean to you?
It means a lot because as what their goal is. They're trying to do and help sickle cell families. So I know how much we have to go through, like parking, food, if we're sick, all that stuff. So for them to contribute and go out and help the families, it just means a lot because I know how much my family would have needed it back in the day when I was sick. So just to be able to do that and give back is just means the world. So Stacy and Matt, they're amazing people to make this happen.
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be out here. We won.
Congrats
really,
on winning!
That's really all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, get out here. It's not really about having fun. It's about winning. And we did that. We delivered right out. I had a nice home run my first at bat. So
Wow.
yeah, felt good.
And did you know Luke?
I didn't have the honor to meet him, but I know the family well, and I went to high school right after everything happened and hopped on board with all of this. Yeah, it means so much. I mean, this is a second year coming out here doing it, and it's fun, and you know, it's such a great thing to get everybody out here to to honor Luke, and you know, knowing the family, they're such a sweet family and great family that I'm happy to come out here every year.
All right, you guys, we made it over to the field. Let's check out what's going on.